When you look at Rooted, you can have that perception like, oh, there's not a whole lot here for me because it's the same verses I've read 100 times in the Bible. But because you're doing it in community and doing it together with people, and you start realizing this is not just about head knowledge. My struggles are not unique. Other people have struggles too, and we can give hope with each other and be accountable to each other on being able to grow closer to God and to each other. That's one of the things I think really stuck out to me overall.
As we look at our discipleship program, the idea of from Matthew chapter 4 and different places where Jesus just simply says to a group of men, come and follow. Rooted kind of addresses that at the very beginning. It kind of gives some very interesting foundational items about coming and following Jesus, because you don't have to know everything. You don't have to know it all to be a follower of Jesus. One of the things that immediately happened was one of those men who was initially called went to his brother and just simply said these words, just come and see the one that we found. In Matthew chapter 11, Jesus says these words, he says, come and learn of me. And then there's that part of their life where Jesus said this in Matthew 28, where he says, go and tell. Just go and tell people about me. Because you've already got to the point where you're following, you're already to the point where you're learning, but then there's this responsibility that we have to go and tell. And I think Rooted does all of those things simultaneously, all those things in the life, no matter what stage of faith that you're in.
A lot of us want to do things on our own, and that's part of the Christian life, but it's incomplete. And that's why you need to be a part of Rooted, because it joins you with some other people.
Walking through the Rooted experience, on one of the weeks we had a prayer time, and I think they were a little worried about how long we were going to pray together, but it ended up being the individual prayer and then the corporate prayer together was a really exciting time, because it allowed people who maybe weren't in that rhythm of everyday life just to pray about some very specific things going on, not only in their life, but in our group's life and then also in the church's life. And it provided us a great conversation with God, but I watched it change how some of the people in the group were engaging with God in conversation.
Some of the people we didn't know at the beginning, and we got to know everybody well. And as we talk about the same thing, we're talking with a different perspective. And it was really fun to hear somebody else talk about the graciousness of God or the depth of God that I hadn't thought of.
The 10-11 week commitment is a commitment, and it is something that I would really encourage everybody to stick with. Even just missing 1 or 2 weeks and the part that's missing is important, and it would be I think a detriment to the Rooted experience to miss a couple of weeks.
If you miss times, it's like hearing about the roller coaster and not actually riding the roller coaster.
Let me speak as an elder too. For some of you, the money might be something that you're concerned about. We don't want that to be an issue for you. So don't hesitate to reach out to one of the leaders or one of the staff people here. If you want to be a part of Rooted, we'll find you a way into Rooted. I'm excited about this for our church.
It can help us grow as a community. I'm just excited to see what happens in the future.
I want you to be a part of Rooted and be a part of the experience together, because it's so important for you as an individual, but it's even more important for us as a church just to have this experience together.
All the groups will meet together on September the 9th. Once we start going after that, then we have groups. We have a couple groups that will meet on Sunday mornings, Tuesday morning, and Wednesday nights. I think everybody needs to go through this. It'll be so crucial for this church and this community. I believe that God's going to do some things through you, which is going to do some great things in Valley View Christian Church, which is going to do some amazing things for Dallas, Fort Worth area, and the rest of the world. As you go through this, you're going to connect with God, connect with the church, and connect with your purpose to this world, and watch the amazing things that God does.